WD, they're a little hellish. You're gonna relish them. Relish the day. Oh, yeah.
Evening. Welcome to the Relish and Deb podcast, where we devour everything in the TWD universe. I'm Dawn.
I'm Eliza.
I might be Carol.
I'm thinking I'm Barb.
So sorry we decided to take a break last week, and tonight we're back to discuss Fear Season 2.
Yes.
So
I don't know if it's so much of a break. I think we were all having a bad week.
We're all tired.
Yeah.
I think so too. So this week we decided that we were going to talk about 4 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about season 2, episode 1, 2, 3, and 4. There is a lot going on. We're still kind of getting to know some of the characters, getting to know their dynamics between them and each other. So we'll converse about some of those relation dynamics for sure.
It's so funny because I'm already in mid-season 7. I'm like, okay, I have to go way back.
I know. I am too, but I've kind of rewatched. I've backpedaled to season 2 so we can kind of talk about these things.
I'll have to remember because I've worked all weekend, so I haven't.
One of the things that I'm really enjoying about it is, I know that what's so fresh in our mind is the very last seasons and those relationships that they had and the characters that they were, but seeing the beginning of their character arc here and those relationships beginning now, it kind of gives you a whole new perspective of especially the friendship between Strand and Madison and how that just, evolved over so much time, and seeing the arc of Madison's character. I think her character has more of an arc change already in season 2 than really anybody else.
Yeah, I would agree. So we start in season 2, episode 1. And they have decided to leave Strand's house and get onto the Abigail.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where their whole journey starts. Okay. Because we know that from season 1 and being in LA and all of that, we get the idea of them, where they start when the apocalypse happens, and all of that. And they've gone to Strand's house and they've gathered what they can. We've lost Lisa. We've lost a few people.
Yeah.
They're getting onto the yacht, and they are going to now move from Los Angeles to an undisclosed location. They think they're going to San Diego. Yeah. Which it makes sense. They're going to go south. And they all get on the yacht and they start moving south. And now they're no longer landlocked.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of issues, like Chris not wanting to leave Lisa behind, his mom. So they bring her body onto the yacht. Yeah. And
creepy.
Yeah. So they bring her body onto the yacht, and there's a lot of kind of issues there with Chris and his mom and all of that.
If you think about it, Carol, too, because the last time we were talking about this, we were talking about how his character was a little crazy and everybody thought, glad he was gone. This shows where the mental issues start.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things that I thought was very close and popped out with Chris was The Walking Dead with Lizzie. Fear of the Walking Dead with Chris,
Yeah.
and even World Beyond to some degree with Silas. It seems to be an adolescent or a child that is thrown into this situation and is definitely not molded or can even overcome, and is just not right for this world at this point. Chris, you see a definite shift in him. Lizzie changed. Silas never was quite right even in the beginning. So it's unusual though that they pick those adolescents or those children in their formidable years to show that they can't be formed into becoming survivors, that they get stuck or they actually regress back.
Right.
And my thing is, and I know I'll always say I'm ahead, but that goes to say with also Charlie and Dakota later on.
Absolutely.
Just go ahead. Sorry.
No, absolutely. It's just I think it's unusual though that they really pull that adolescent child aspect in, because that's where that's where you can be formed. They're not like Judith or they're not like Carl, that can be brought up to be warriors and survivors. They become murderers in a sense, to a different degree.
I'm just wondering because, like with Lizzie, it was, I don't know how her parents was her parents separated? I can't remember. Did they have a divorce or did she die? Because it's kind of like with Chris, it was like the parents were separated and he's trying to deal with that anyways in the beginning, and that's just sent him over the edge.
We never heard about Lizzie's mom, but we did see the dad because he was in the prison. And he seemed like a great guy, so it didn't seem like they were brought up wrong.
Right. Well, no, that's what I'm saying. The mother might have been gone, and that's why the reasoning, like, with Chris, like, I don't know.
Yeah, and what's his name? Reed, he played on that, when he was talking to Chris in 3 or 4 about through the door of, oh, you're an orphan too. You're not blood to them and things like that. So it's that antagonizing and playing on that. But, for any kid, I think seeing your parent shoot your other parent, it just damaged him. It just really damaged him at that point.
Yeah.
If somebody I'm loving is Nick, and I really, really hate that we didn't get to keep Nick through the entirety of the show, because I'm really, really digging that character.
It makes me mad. Go ahead.
I just gonna say, I said that the Fear of the Walking Dead like totally turned for me when Nick left. Like I feel like it just went down.
It makes me mad that the kids of the show killed 2 main characters while they're fighting out in the world and doing all this shit and could have died a different way. They get shot by a freaking kid.
Yeah.
Both of them, Dakota and Charlie.
And Pam brings up a good point. She says Sam and Ron were not adjusting to the apocalypse either.
Yeah.
No.
Sure.
And they didn't have their daddy was not a good daddy. So they were already in that abusive state where Sam was the coward and Ron was the bully. He had to be the bully like his dad, and Sam was the cowering one. So glad I'm an adult when this shit happens. I don't have to worry about it.
Well, it's interesting because Aliza had mentioned something prior to the podcast going live about certain kids in the apocalypse in these shows, certain characters that were just not made for this world.
Yeah.
And I think that touching on Ron and Sam, obviously, Lizzie and Mika, of course, are another sets of siblings that were not made for this particular type of thing. And in one of the episodes in this as well, we come across a couple of children that are also, they're introduced to us to kill them off.
Yeah.
They are dispendable in this particular show. So there are quite a few younger children in this TWD world that are created as children, as expendable characters that are not made for this type of world.
Right. And I wonder if that's to kind of give a more a reality perspective on it as well. You know, that they're not all, I mean, you know, they're not all going to be Judiths and Carls out there, and they're not all going to be, you know, the Hucks and things like that. They're going to be, there's going to be fragile and broken people who either get stuck or regress. I mean, with the adults, we see this bringing out either the best or the worst in them, right? So they either become these horrible villains or they're the overly top do-gooders. So I think they probably do that to try to give us a perspective. I mean, that whole family. So that was that Henry and his brother and that family that was on that ranger station on the island.
On the island, I think.
Yeah. Where, you know, they had it set up for them to take cyanide pills if it got too bad, and the little girl accidentally took hers, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think that's why the show Walking Dead Fear is so the writing is so powerful, and it brings people together, is because they write about people that's had traumas and how they overcome them and how it brings them together. Because I know me, I've had a trauma. You know, you've had a trauma. Everybody, yes, and it's connected and it hits you here.
Yeah.
I think that's why everybody can. I think that's why the majority of the watchers can relate to a lot of the stuff, because they are hitting on traumas that are very realistic. And I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but you have traumas like domestic violence with Carol.
Right.
And you have traumas that are just consistent with maybe child abuse or, you know, those kinds of things. And people can relate to those because, unfortunately, the majority of us have experienced those traumas.
Right.
And I think that that's why people, these characters resonate so much with us, because a lot of us have had these issues, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, and Anissa and Pam both mentioned Lydia, and Lydia is a great example of not being defined by your upbringing in a situation like this. I mean, she definitely could have so easily have slid into Alpha's footsteps, but there was always something about Lydia that wasn't that level of evil and wickedness, and it just took her getting to the right people to fix what was broken. We're all broken, and our friendship fixes us, and that's exactly right. It's those it's finding the right people that are going to nurture you back. They're either going to nurture you, or they're going to develop that part of you that's broken even further for their own good, like Negan did with his guys, you know.
Right. Well, everybody is saying hi. We have a lot of people in the audience, and I just want to say hello to everybody. Yes, Mark, we have all missed each other's faces so much. It's killing us. But yeah, I think that rewatching this, it really hits home a lot of the realistic traumas. And I want to ask, the whole dynamic, being a kid from a divorced home, that's me. And I know Eliza is the same way. So Chris and Alicia and Nick are all kids that have what I deem as bonus parents. Okay. Chris is going through a real major issue of not wanting to leave his mom's corpse behind, especially in season 2, episode 1. Yeah. We see that they are at the beach. Chris does not want to leave her corpse behind, and so Nick goes back. He grabs them. They bring Liza's body back to the ship with them, and Chris spends a lot of time with his mom's corpse.
Yeah.
And Cliff even mentions something about him sitting there, with his mom.
Mhm.
And
all of
and it's
that.
funny to say because it's almost like he becomes the parent to her and she's the child.
Yeah,
The way
Yeah.
he pets her and takes
Yeah.
care of her.
yeah, yeah. It's quite an interesting dynamic.
Mhm.
The other thing that I noticed about this was that that Nick has in some way he has become the hero
Mhm.
in this scenario, where he's getting on the little skiff, the boat, and he's going back to shore, and he's grabbing his mom, and he's grabbing Cliff, and he's grabbing Cliff and Liza's body, and he's bringing them back to the Abigail. So Chris or Nick has encompassed and just enveloped the whole hero role.
Mhm.
So my question is, do you guys think at this point, did Strand see something in Nick that nobody else saw, like a certain level of capability that nobody else saw, like Madison didn't see, Cliff didn't see, Alicia didn't see? They didn't know that Nick had this ability in him.
I think so. I mean, I think he even mentioned something when Madison confronts him about Nick going off and doing that errand, into that community. Like, don't ever send my son out to do. And he's like, I saw what your son was capable of the moment I met him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think so, because I think their vision and their view of Chris is very skewed by his years and years of drug addiction.
Right.
And so it's hard to see past that. Whereas Strand never saw that, and he only sees what he's able to do.
But see, I disagree with that because Strand noticed that he was on taking drugs when he was in this little cell with him. And I think he's seen the manipulative side, that he could do things manipulative to get, because people that need drugs will do anything and manipulate you to get those.
That is true.
And Strand is a type, I'm not saying he was, but to manipulate people to get what he wants. That's what he saw in.
Okay. That makes perfect sense, Don.
Yeah. As an ex-drug abuser, I know that you will do anything and everything to get a fix.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whether it be from the source of what you're used to, what your addiction is focused on, or if your true addiction is acceptance or whatever it may be, you will do whatever it takes.
Right.
And I think I agree with you, Dawn. I think that Nick is craving acceptance so bad that he, not only in his pre-apocalyptic life, he became addicted to drugs because he was actually addicted to the attention from the people that he was around. Now he has someone like Strand who is giving him what he needs, and now he will do anything and everything he possibly can to continue to get that reaction from him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's a good point, Don, and I absolutely can see that now. No. Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing that I noticed that kind of cracked me up is when they're on the Abigail, the normality of the coffee. And I just thought it was so great that they're just standing around, and like every single character that you saw in the first couple of scenes of the first episode, every single one of them has a mug with coffee in it.
My kind of crew.
The normality of that was so great in the middle of absolute chaos. They still have these habits of having coffee. And I just
maybe that's what we would need
for normalcy, like
find some semblance of normalcy. to
Mhm.
keep your sanity grounded,
Yeah.
to keep you from losing your mind.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'll be the one with the coffee. So just come find me. But I
Well,
mean, to me, that's just a sign of normalcy and trying to hold on to what was and
Mhm.
keeping your sanity.
mhm. Well, and I agree with you, Bouge. I'm going to need some bougie coffee. So if I ever get on a ship like the Abigail, I'm going to need whipped cream. I'm going to need caramel sauce. I'm going to need the whole shebang. Okay.
You're going to get it strong and black, just
I
like
need
Strand.
some iced latte. That's all I'm saying. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And Terry said if they didn't have it, they'd be a zombie. Absolutely, brother.
Right, right.
Yes.
Yeah,
You have to have that normalcy. And we see that normalcy throughout the TWD universe,
right.
you know?
The making of the cookies when they get to Alexandria, the
Yeah.
spaghetti nights. They have to have some type, or you're going to go crazy if you don't. If you don't have something to hold on to.
Right. And I think that that's really interesting that they have continued that normal task of making coffee in the mornings, regardless of where they're at. I love that.
And that's funny you say that because it's like when they were on the farm, there was normalcy until they got to Alexandria. From there to Alexandria, it was complete chaos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And trying to find something that they could ground them.
Mm-hmm.
The farming at the prison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love that they're continuing that theme of, as subtle as it may be, they're still continuing that theme of yes, even though in the middle of chaos, in the middle of the uncertainty,
Mm-hmm.
we as humans, we are going to try to find something where we can that we can create some sort of normalcy. And I loved that visual fact that they had the coffee mugs and that they were all drinking coffee. I love that.
And I think I think that goes to speak even to today. When you think about the environment and the world that we're in right now, it's so easy to get swept into it and to lose your mind and to lose all hope. And I think if we keep those, those relationships with friends, we keep a normalcy to our routine and would find it was Richie that told us, and when we did our panel at camp, was you find joy in that moment, even when things around you are bad, or when you're playing a bad character or a bad episode, you find joy in the moment. So I think that's coffee in the morning is joy in the moment.
Right.
Waking up with Folgers in your cup.
It's the best part of waking up.
Exactly.
There you go. Monica said, I believe that not even distance, age, or race. I believe in good communication, understanding, cooperation. It really makes a relationship healthy. Okay, I don't know who that was.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. So I think normalcy is a very important part of the first episode where we see these kinds of things.
So what would be something that you guys would need in your life? If we were to be invaded by Russia or we had a zombie apocalypse, what's something that you would need in your life daily to keep a normalcy?
Cigarettes and coffee.
I'm with you, Barb.
Yeah.
Tea and Walking Dead.
Right.
Well, you're going to be in The Walking Dead. Yet. Carol?
I think that I think that's why I love the coffee so much, because it is a natural every morning kind of thing. I love that idea. And I also, at some point in these first 4 episodes, we actually see them getting together at one point and having a family dinner, where everybody is sitting around the table and they're eating eel.
I'm like, no, y'all catch nothing else in the ocean?
Yeah.
But there's no food in there in that boat.
I don't know.
Probably,
but I love the idea of the coffee in the mornings. I do think that that's an important thing, that you just don't put a lot of weight into it until you realize that it's not something that's going to happen.
Right.
I do love that. And I would kill somebody if I didn't have my coffee in the morning.
That's why I have a stockpile of coffee and I have Nescafe instant coffee because that's the only kind of
Well,
instant
you need to
coffee
get
out
some
there.
tea since Ben's coming to get me to take me to you. So
Okay, well, I've got tea. I got teas. I got tea.
Yeah, we're gonna need some coffee. That's all I'm saying. And if me and Booze are gonna exist, then we need some caramel sauce and some whipped cream. That's all I'm saying.
And this every time I see Baja Blast, I think of you
There
because
you go.
she's the one that gave me my first Baja Blast.
The Baja Blast, that's gonna be your norm.
So what is y'all's? What is your? We know it's kind of hard to not think about the episodes we're in without thinking about the episodes on down the road. But what is your first gut impression of Strand? We've seen some flashbacks in these first few episodes of how he's a manipulator, he's a con man,
Con artist is
Con
the first.
artist.
My first impression of him was con artist.
Well, we all know that I am a terrible judge of character. And I am the first to admit it.
Yeah, look at me.
No. There are some that I have nailed it on the head. You know what I'm saying? I have picked perfect people. I love it. But I would say that with Strand, yes. And if I say that I think that there is something off with him, you need to be careful because I'm terrible at it. So if I say there's something off, there's definitely something off.
And I'm not meaning that he's a bad guy.
No,
like
he's
I
got
think
an
he's
agenda.
bad, but he's out for himself.
Yes, he's got an agenda for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't fault him for that in this type of situation. You cannot, because every single person is going to be protecting themselves. They're going to be out for whatever they need.
Mm-hmm.
He's just really, really good at it.
What do you think it is about him that creates this bond that's so strong as we see through the seasons developing between he and Madison?
Madison stood up for him. She showed him loyalty. She was there for him.
I personally think that Madison didn't buy into his bullshit.
Mm-hmm. But she was there for him.
She recognized his bullshit. She called him out on his bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
He copped to his bullshit with her.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, to me, it's kind of like parallel with Negan and Maggie, where Negan will tell Maggie the absolute hurtful truth.
Yeah.
Whether she wants to hear it or not is another story. But Strand is very much, he doesn't make any apologies for who he is.
Yeah. And I love Ruben Blades. I love his character. I love Daniel, and I love Daniel's so perceptive, but that's Daniel's background, right? Is to see what is other people aren't seeing. And even throughout the years, he and Strand even develop a friendship and
mutual respect for each other.
Yeah.
But that's why when I watched The Walking Dead, Rick became my character because his loyalty, and that's why Madison became my favorite character in Fear, was because her loyalty to the people that were there.
That makes a lot of sense. I can see that, Dawn. Yeah. I can see that parallel for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get to the decision about the people that are in the boat that Strand and them and Cliff and them decide that it's not a good idea to help them.
Is that the people that are screaming from the boat, or
They're screaming from the boat? They decide not to help them. So that in and of itself was very clarifying as far as characters go. They realize that their priorities are to the people that are on the Abigail, not the people that are external. They realize that they have to be protective of who they have that are closest to them. All
right, what would Boyd do, Barb? What would Boyd do?
What would Boyd do? Would Boyd have saved those people on the boat?
Yep. I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would Barb do?
What would Barb do?
WWBD.
I would trust the people on my boat. I probably wouldn't have saved them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to trust any new people.
Yeah.
At that point in the middle of freaking nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there were so many. And, I mean, the rationale was there. There's not enough food. There's not enough supplies. We don't know who's infected. We can't ask them the questions.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think it's, but it's a tough call on your human side of you to say, I'm going to turn an eye and I'm going to push the boat faster.
How difficult of a decision would that be to not want to help those people? I think it would have been a very difficult decision for most of us.
At that point, when you're in the middle of the shit storm that you're in, I think it's more easier than you would think.
Maybe.
See, I think if I hadn't watched these shows, I would feel more guilty to help. But now, since I've watched these shows, I'd be like, sorry, gotta go.
Gotta go. Don't trust you.
Yeah. I didn't have much of a problem with that one. The only one that I really had the problem with was, when Strand went out and cut the rope on the skip that had What's Her Doodle in it, and then that one guy, and I'm like, they weren't doing any harm out there. You just pulling them, that was just cruelty right there to me.
Yeah.
I understand not letting that guy on, but at the same time, even if he had died, they still knew what to do, right? So they still could have brought them on board, 2 people.
But see, the thing is, this lets you know they didn't help them, and it came back to bit them in the butt.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. So, and then we have, of course, the moment between Daniel and Chris. And I don't know if you guys picked up on this or not, where Daniel's fishing and Chris comes out and Chris starts fishing. And it's a very subtle, very just like maybe a 3-second scene where Daniel tells Chris that he's sorry about his mom. Mm-hmm. And Chris turns and looks at him and he says, I'm sorry about your wife. And to me, that was very reminiscent of Daryl and Carl when Daryl says, I'm sorry about your mom. And Carl says, I'm sorry about your mom, I thought that was a real sweet, subtle callback.
Yeah.
What was your stress level when Alicia was talking to Jack, I guess is his name, on the radio, and she starts talking to Jack, and she starts like, telling him, oh, well, we're in this ship, blah, blah, blah. And she's talking about the water and all this other stuff. What was your stress level about the fact, knowing that she was giving away so much information without knowing that she was giving out all this information?
It would have been better if it said there's this tater bug coming in, if it had been tater bug on the other end.
Dumbass.
I was doing the Daryl thing.
Dumbass.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been so cool if we had heard, Eugene's voice in that flipping of the channels, even if we didn't land on him, but if we'd heard his voice in there, there's tater bug.
Awesome. Yeah.
I knew that wasn't going to go well.
Terry said, what the fuck? Yeah, I'm right there with you, brother. I was like, she's just giving away all sorts of shit unknowingly. She's giving all sorts of information.
I don't think she wasn't very cautious, Melissa. So she liked how she was cautious. She wasn't cautious. She gave away all their digits where they were.
Yeah. And then they had the eel dinner, and the eel dinner on the ship was very reminiscent to me of the CDC dinner, where they, the music was kind of playing in the background, and there was not a lot of there was no audio of conversation, but it was kind of very reminiscent of that. Anyway. Yeah. All right. So then we get to episode 2. And let's see. Okay, so this is episode 2. This is the beginning of it. And I'm only showing slides of the very beginning of the episodes so that we can kind of talk about it. So my first thought when I first saw this, I thought, oh, Dawn, there's your West Coast lonely walker. I was like, there's the West Coast version of Dawn's lonely walker. There he is.
Okay, Terry, you need to make that the West Coast lonely walker picture right there to go next to her other lonely walker in the field, one in the water.
Yes, my first thought was, okay, so we need to figure out what this kid's backstory is.
We need to find out who he is.
Yes, Tales of the Walking Dead Part 2. Who is this guy?
The lonely water walker.
And I want to brag on Terry, but the drawing that he did for me, like pictures and seeing it here doesn't do it justice. I'll have to show you all when I come to camp. It's amazing. Like I about cried. It took my breath away because it's nothing. Pictures can't do it justice.
Yeah. I agree. Terry's artwork is absolutely freaking phenomenal. So I can only imagine what it looks like in real life.
That scene and them coming out of the water, that reminded me of when, we first see Tara and she's at Oceanside and, they're coming out of the water there. And so that would kind of reminded me of the Oceanside deal.
Right. So then we learn about the 2 kids that are stuck on what they call Katrina Island.
Yeah.
But if you know anything about the West Coast, it's actually filmed on Catalina Island. San Diego baby here. It's actually filmed on Catalina Island. And the 2 kids are on the beach and they're kind of paying homage to the dead when they collect the seashells and stuff, and they bring them, as an offering at the fence.
Right.
He said there's going to be more scene drawings eventually, Terry said. So, okay. So my question is on this one, and I've had this question before on some of the other episodes. So they're not willing to help the people on the boat in the first episode of season 2. There's a lot of that going on. They're not willing to help other people. So they get to season 2, episode 2, and they go to this island, to Katrina Island, and they see the house and all of that. What makes them think that these people are going to help them if they aren't willing to help others?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we've had that in The Walking Dead as well, because, I don't know what the thought process is, but they go to this house and Cliff and them, they're like, we're not a threat, blah, blah, blah. But yet they haven't been willing to help other people.
I think maybe because they're not coming there to stay there. They're coming there to get information because they're wanting to know if there's any connection with the radio. Do they know where to go? I think like if they pulled up and said we're anchoring here, it might be something different.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they, in that point, I think they would just take over.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think they probably would not have tried to help had it not been kind of obvious that there was some kind of, I think if the mother had not kind of, compelled Madison to try to take the kids, and I think Madison probably would have taken the kids and the wife at that point because of the situation that they were in. And then, finding out that, we've got cyanide pills and, now we definitely have to get the boy out.
Okay, so that leads me to another question, because we all know about Padre and Padre's mindset of taking the kids, offering them a better whatever. Do you think that maybe this episode was kind of a little bit of a foreshadowing of Padre to kind of get us desensitized to the idea of Padre taking the kids and offering them a better life? Because that's exactly what this episode sets Madison up for.
Right.
That's exactly what they set her up for, was to take the kids to offer them a better, and she even says something about, you know, being able to offer the children a possibility of hope.
Yeah.
When
yeah.
parents can't do that, when they can't supply that for their kids. And so it is literally Padre's mindset.
This is what I think.
Episode 1.
Yeah.
I think they wrote it, but I think they went like, I don't think they were like thinking that in the future. I think they were trying to tie it back to the beginning, and I think that writing came from that. I don't think they were like foreshadowing. I think they just come back and connected it.
So they connected Padre back to what happened in that episode.
Yes, because I think they were trying to come full circle.
Yeah.
And they probably like, how can
figure out
we
a reason to bring Madison back?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it was very good on their side though to do that, Dawn, to even bring it back so that you have that connection, because again, if you're watching it first time, you're not going to even think about that. But we're kind of coming back and we're rewatching, and now we're like going, you know, like you said, and you know, Anissa said, is it practice for Padre?
Yeah.
Well, but I like your point though, Dawn, that they didn't have, when they were writing season 2, they weren't thinking about Padre way out yonder, but when they got to Padre, they're like, flip it back so that Madison's been a part of that.
They didn't know that Madison was going to leave, or whoever was going to leave ahead of time and come back. So it'd be a good question for Mikey.
Yeah, because Madison, her literal verbiage is, you're not taking them, you're saving them.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a total Padre mindset.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I love that we're not always on the same level, on the same point with the writers.
Right.
And yet I believe that if Dawn were to be a writer on any of these shows, that it would be 10 times better. But I think that at this particular thing, where she says you're not taking them, you're saving them, and then to bring in Padre later on and have that same mindset, I think that that's a fantastic reconnect.
Yes, I agree.
Episodes.
I like that.
Yeah. So, and then there were other things. Oh, the thing about the Ring Around the Rosie, the song, and the little kid's dolls, every single one of his action figures had the blood spot in the, you know, the headshot wound.
Yeah.
So then we get to the end of that particular episode, and you see the importance of Melissa being put down by her son.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Chris watches this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think that something in his brain resets and goes, oh, that's what happened to my mom with my dad. And I think there's an important connect there.
And Daniel recognizes that, because was it Ophelia that says, you know, can you do something? And he says the son has a gun, you know. Yeah. So it shows that importance of loved ones needing to give mercy to loved ones and not strangers doing it.
Okay, right. I just had a moment.
I love it when Dawn has a.
Now, wouldn't it been like when you were talking about Padre and it connected? Wouldn't it have been cool if the little boy was the one that was head of the Padre?
Stop it! Stop it!
Because we never seen him die.
Oh, snappy!
He would have saw Madison and see. They need me.
That's another missed opportunity.
Your
Yes.
brain is so fucking sexy, Dawn. I gotta tell you, I
I
love
love
that.
that. That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
That would be very cool.
And this
Okay.
was also too where we see Chris kind of learning about how you actually kill them when the older boy is showing him, and he just kind of goes all willy nilly, you know, and he's out for it then, you know.
Yeah, Chris is enjoying it way too much, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, and Cliff can't wrap his head around that, you know, because he tells the man, you know, he mowed the yard, he took out the trash, he kept his room clean, and now he's out here killing these things, you know. It's like, hello,
Yeah, with a
He's
pickaxe.
taking out-
Taking
he's
him
taking
down.
out the trash. He's taking out the trash. Yeah.
So then we get to episode 3, and there is a very important thing that happens in episode 3. Not that none of it, the rest of it's not important, but
Mhm.
for those of us who love the mothership, there's something that very important happens, and it is Nick's discovery of the Walker guts, being covered in the Walker guts, and how the anonymity that it gives him in this world, the freedom that it gives him to walk amongst the dead, where they are searching through the airplane. They go on shore, they search through the airplane for supplies, and Nick falls into a little cavern type of thing,
Yeah.
where someone who has been hiking has been stuck and turned into a walker subsequently, and then Nick falls in there, and then there are other walkers that fall in, and Nick gets covered in the walker guts, and he discovers that gives him the anonymity to walk around with the walkers, and they will not attack him. And I think that it's an extremely important discovery, because as we know in the mothership, they use it quite often.
Mhm, mhm.
I
I have to tell you, I laughed out loud when, you know, Nick's looking down in there and he sees that guy stuck down there, and the guy's grabbing those crabs and eating them, and they're just coming out of his stomach. He grabs them, he eats one, it just comes back out of his stomach. I'm like, I want a diet like that. Just eating, it goes right out.
Look, in our household, the joke was, "Oh, he's got crabs. He's a walker that has crabs."
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and you know, Nick really gets them out of that pinch that they're in by doing that. But also in that scene, when he walks up right to the face to face with that one walker, you know,
Yeah.
and a part of me was like, are you wanting to see if they smell you, or are you wanting them to bite you? I wasn't quite sure there, but it was, you know, it was really cool to see that face to face shot.
Yeah, I agree. And it's interesting that he's learning that process. The other thing that is real a theme in this episode is whether or not to trust Strand and his plans. And so my question is, do you think that they're trusting him, or do you think that they're just accepting the plan because they think it's going to get them where they need to be safe? What you think?
I think they're going to probably just trust him to get to where they need to be safe, and then, you know, split up. You know, I mean, you know, Daniel kind of calls him out on everything, you know, but I don't think at this point they want to trust him beyond, let's just get somewhere that might be a little safer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Barb.
Barb, what would
Barb.
Boyd do? Barb.
What would Boyd do, Barb? Do you think that Boyd would just go with it to go to Mexico, or do you think that he would try to reroute them? What do you think?
I don't know.
You're almost at his mercy, though.
Mhm.
You either have to trust him, or you're going to have to get off the boat.
That's kind of where my mind was going, is like you kind of have no choice at this point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, you know.
But I don't think it's necessarily, like I said, I don't think it's necessarily a trust thing, because trust and acceptance are two different things.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they necessarily trust Strand to do what's right, because Daniel is very skeptical. Madison is very skeptical. We haven't gotten to the point where Madison and Strand are friends yet.
Mm-mm.
We haven't gotten that yet. Madison is relying on her thoughts, and she's also relying on Daniel's opinion. She's got a lot of weight on Daniel's opinion at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's not necessarily a matter of trusting him. It's a matter of, let's just watch and see what happens, because we know that at least for this moment right now that we are in, we are safe.
I think they want to trust him, but they're on the edge.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
And I think his actions of what he does in this episode as well, with that girl and the guy that I guess they're the plane crash survivors.
Mm-hmm.
I think what Strand does there really puts a big red flag of doubt up into the character of this kind of man, you know.
When he cuts the rope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But they almost, I mean, like you said, they almost have to either go along with it, like you said, accept it, or they're going to have to get off the boat, and then they're going to be on land and you know,
Mm-hmm.
and not moving as fast along the coastline.
Right. All right. So then we get to episode 4.
What's that?
That is actually the ocean, and it's the border between San Diego. It's right at the border where the ocean and Mexico is.
Okay.
And being a San Diego baby, I know that wall well. It literally stretches into the ocean.
Right.
So I have been to Silver Strand Beach, which is where that is. The wall literally goes into the ocean and covers that. You can't get past it unless you're in a boat.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Yeah.
So we opened up in Tent City, which is right there, and Nick is, you know, kind of looking around. He's moving in and out of the tents. He finds a walker. He brings the walker into the tent. He guts the walker, and again, he's trying to figure out whether or not his theory is correct about the blood and guts of the walkers covering himself, whether or not it's going to be effective as a tool to allow him to walk around the walkers. So my question is, and this is something that has always bothered me about the Whisperers in the main show. So Alpha and Beta and all of them, when they were walking around amongst the hordes of walkers, they weren't covered in walker guts.
Uh-uh.
All they had was the masks.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
How did they maneuver?
It had to have been the smell of dead flesh.
But they literally cured those skins. They cured them. They stretched them. They made them so that they're masks. They cleaned them. They did all that kind of stuff. So the smell's not there. So how did they do it?
Never made sense to me, even in the
Yeah,
comics.
Negan didn't clean Maggie's. He just cut it off right there and put it on her.
Yeah, but
It never makes sense.
You saw the masks hanging on the strings in the forest where they cleaned the shit.
Right.
Never made sense.
Thank you,
I
Barb.
agree with Eliza. I think it's the smell because, like even Anissa said, they didn't bathe, but they were around them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I never understood that, Barb. I'm right there with you. I never understood
If
how
we
they
can
were
get
able to
Cassidy
do
on the
that.
show, we'll have to ask Cassidy what her thoughts were, you know,
Or-
from that
Or
perspective.
Scott.
I mean, if you look too,
One day.
the one time when Daryl, Connie, they went in to go get Henry, they put on masks that were already, you know, part of that, but the rest of their bodies were them. You know, they've showered,
Right.
I'm sure, but you know, it never made sense to me.
I mean, Rick and Glenn, both of them, they were covered in blood and guts, and they lasted for all but just a few minutes until it started raining and the shit started washing off of them.
Right.
Mhm.
Puppies and
I
kittens.
mean, it's in the comics too, so I don't know.
They all,
Yeah.
Anessa said they also didn't panic. You're right, babe. They didn't. Yeah. It never made sense to me. So I was always kind of
Terry
confused.
had a good point. Says they could have also worn the dead's clothes, so there was that smell of death. Even if you clean that stuff, I don't know if you've smelled, unless you tan hides. I mean, really get into tanning them with the right chemicals. Just drying it out, it still smells like funky dead crap. So, and never watching your coochie never get washed.
Then Daryl would have fit in the whole damn show.
Yeah, he would have naturally been that.
Daryl would have been just fine. That's why he never took a shower, in case he had to infiltrate, I guess.
I could walk through them.
Daryl didn't bathe until he got to Paris. Shit.
I got this.
And then it took 4 women to bathe him then, because to get all the gunk off.
Jeez.
Oh God.
One of the things that threw me off on that scene was I almost thought it was a dream sequence when it first started with Chris going through that camp. Because I'm like, where the hell did everybody go? In all that crap, there's one walker. All that crap, one walker. And I'm like, where did everybody go? I thought it was like a dream sequence at first.
Right. The walking Daryl.
The walking Daryl.
I love it. Yeah. Samara said, not coochie. That's funny.
Yeah.
All right. So then this last episode, this episode 4, the main thing is that the Abigail gets hijacked by Jack and the 2 people, one of them being a pregnant woman.
And Reed.
Yeah. And meanwhile, of course, Nick is on land throughout all of this, so he doesn't have a clue of what's going on. And
Dipshit abandons ship. Dipshit runs away.
Strand, yeah.
Runs away.
But the interesting thing is that after everything is said and done, and they go through all of that, and they overtake the people that have hijacked the Abigail, Madison literally goes back and she saves Strand. And I think that is a big turning point for Strand and Madison.
Yeah.
We kind of get a backstory on Strand and how shady he is, and how manipulative he is, with the beautiful DeGray Scott. Gotta love him. Yeah. So if you're into Scottish men, hello. But yeah, so you get the I can't help it, Dawn. I can't.
Did you read my lips?
Add it to the list. Add it to the list.
Just add him to the list. Look, DeGray Scott's been on the list for a long time. Okay, that's all I'm saying. So it's an interesting development where Madison and Strand's relationship develops. Kind of a turning point between the 2 of them, and the fact that she's the one.
Yeah.
Not Nick, not Cliff, not Daniel, not anybody else, but Madison is the one that extends the hand to Strand to bring him back to the ship.
Yeah.
And
when his buddy's on there, like, we're only 2 people. We're only approved for 2 people to cross the border, and she's turning the boat and going to get, Alicia and Cliff. Strand steps up for her.
Yeah.
And says, we've got time to get our family and get to the border, so.
And I think that's why Madison went back for him, because, he saved Nick.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yes, Ben, it's my 50 Shades of Grey list. Absolutely. And I will take that title from Dawn, no problem, without any type of reservation. I have all sorts of subtext of genres of men that are all in my man harem. I don't have a problem with that, and I'm not going to be shamed for it. So there you go. I'm not going to do it.
So when you think about Fear the Walking Dead and watching it now for the second time, are you guys enjoying it more, having a little bit of separation from The Walking Dead and actually being able to absorb what everybody kind of went through at the beginning of the
Well, like I
apocalypse?
said, the first time around, I was sidetracked by other shows.
Yeah.
So watching it this time around, I'm more invested.
Mhm.
You know, so it's more interest. It's like like I told you last time. There's scenes I don't even freaking remember.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Oh, we got Rick Prince in the house. Hey, Rick.
Hey, Rick,
Nice.
welcome.
Yes, Rick, I have a man harem, and I'm not ashamed to admit it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's and I'm enjoying that perspective of it, of being able to see the breakdown of civilization and how people act on the initial front end, and things that went south, like, a major plane crash and, stuff like that. Things that we didn't think about, in The Walking Dead, because all that had gone quiet. And I loved Nick's perspective when he was laying on the boat, and he said, the one good thing about everything that's happening is there's no noise pollution, there's no planes, there's no cars, there's no lights, there's just stars.
Mhm.
Didn't Carol say that at one time too? There was no.
Yes,
I
Yeah.
believe she did. Yeah.
she did.
Of all the stars that you can see. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I think that was the night that her and Daryl were at the prison, wasn't it, when they were out, and
I can't
they
remember where it
they made
was,
those little suggestive comments to each other.
but
Yeah, she said, "You want to fool around?"
They want to fool around.
I think I opened myself up more to the characters because I was too loyal to the other characters. I was too invested,
Mhm.
and if I'm too invested in something, I can't go over here. And I think
Mhm.
now I'm more open to be more
Yeah.
invested and dig deeper in. I'm like
Right.
where I like analyze those characters. Now I'm seeing more and analyzing
Yeah.
Madison, Strand, Nick.
And there's still
Right.
those callbacks. There's still those reflections of the original show that we see in either characters or situational, things that come about. So
Oh.
there is definitely that reflection back to the original show.
There is so much that that has happened now that I'm into season 7. I'm like, oh my god, that happened on The Walking Dead. Oh, that happened on The Walking. Oh, they did that. You know?
Yeah. And so
Yeah,
so
I agree.
we're at the beginning of when everything happened, and we start with The Walking Dead supposedly, a month or a month and a half into it. But to me, that never has felt right for it to just be that short of a time period into it, because of everything. Well, maybe it so is, because even that guy on the island tells them that, they've already bombed San Diego, and they've bombed, that Omaha's out and Nebraska's out and Colorado's out. So I
Okay,
guess,
but-
I guess it's a fast devolution.
Okay, so how many days can you go without water?
7.
Okay, so Rick didn't have any water in the hospital.
True.
I know he didn't. Yeah. Yeah, we no.
He might have had
Because he
an
was
IV
supposed to-
lasted a little while, but that's it.
24 hours, maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, and I agree with Terry and Anissa. Terry said it became comparing the shows for me while they were all going on, and Anissa said it's different too because there are no comic counterparts.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I agree with Dawn also, because when this originally aired, I was 100% invested in the Mother Show.
Yeah.
The Mothership was it for me, and everything else was compared to that show, to that storyline, for sure. Rick's part camel, yeah, yeah. So I'm enjoying rewatching it, because now the only thing that we have to compete with it is Daryl Dixon and Dead City. And those aren't on right now. So we're kind of filling the gap with rewatching this show. and we don't have anything that is competing against it, and it's really
Mhm.
interesting to rewatch, to be able to enjoy it for what it is.
Mhm, mhm.
You know,
I don't know if I can
Anyway.
go back and rewatch World Beyond though.
I don't know how Barb's watching season 7.
Oh, it's horrible,
I
but
know,
I
she's
have to
already in
finish it.
season 7.
I said I'm at the worst, the most ridiculous season ever, but I have to
You're
finish it.
in the first season, aren't you? You're the submarine season, aren't you?
Yes.
That's Barb.
I
yes.
mean, I'm watching some of these scenes going, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
it makes no sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't. But I have to
Yeah.
finish it. I
Right.
can't just stop watching
Yes.
it. I have to go to the end.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
this is horrible. It's actually worse the second time around because you got, like Dawn said, you're so invested now with all these people, and it's like what they're doing is just it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurt the
yeah.
first time.
Like I said, I didn't remember a lot of it. I do remember a little bit of the submarine, but the fact that I'm invested now, it's worse. I think it's 10 times worse.
Well, and the thing is that you're just trying to get through it so you can get to Morgan. You know,
What do you mean?
you're just like, okay, so after this is when you actually get to Morgan. Morgan crosses over.
I'm
No.
way past that.
She's past that. She's where the submarine thing
Yeah,
is.
Morgan's on the submarine with Grace and the baby.
Morgan was like in the very season 3 or 2?
Okay.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Season 3, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're just trying to get past this whole submarine in the middle of the fucking desert kind of thing, just so you can get past the story.
Carrying around it constantly, and I said to myself, okay, now I remember the baby screams for the next 18 episodes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would make anybody crazy. I'd be like, feed the
That-
baby out the door.
When they're talking, they could just like drown that out for the sake of the show. But I'm thinking, I remember being aggravated that this baby was always crying,
Mm-hmm.
like
Yes.
all the time.
You
And
need
I
to
think
ask
that's
Lenny
what they
that
wanted
question.
you to feel.
What, Dawn?
Yeah.
You need to ask Lenny how he dealt with the baby crying and doing his line.
Well, they probably added that in after the shoot.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I'm assuming they added that in after the shoot.
Okay.
Like, you know how they say, tell the walkers to just make your mouth move, and they add the sound in later. But that was a lot of baby screaming. They didn't need all that.
Right.
But that's
Yeah.
probably but that was probably the reality. I mean, it's
No,
the baby
I
was
get
starving.
that.
Yeah.
But they're still having a conversation, and in some shows they drown it out so they can still hear, and they're talking over this screaming. It's like, and then the walkers in the background. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just want to get past that whole
Yeah.
whole storyline.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
Absolutely.
But again, I don't understand, unless it's just shock and awe, why the showrunners feel so compelled to kill off some of the main, characters in the show.
my kids. Sorry,
Yeah.
that aggravates me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Judith was a good baby.
Judith was a good baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was a good baby. Yes. And they need more coffee. Absolutely, Terry. They need more coffee.
Yeah.
If they could just have a cup of coffee in the morning, they'll be fine. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Well, we're gonna skip Fear next week. Dawn,
Aw, but I really wanted to go further.
we're gonna go further.
I'm excited about next week. I can't stand it.
We've got somebody coming next week. Who do we have coming?
I'm excited.
Who do we got, Dawn?
We
We're gonna have a barbecue.
We got Lawrence coming in the house. I'm so excited because I've never met him, and I would love to meet. He's one of my unicorns, so it's exciting to have him on.
We definitely need to get Casey and Oscar and Jake to invite him
Yeah.
and the actor that played Gareth, and then we could have a barbecue with he and Gareth.
We could have shish kebabs.
Shish kebabs with them, yeah. But we definitely need to get Lawrence to the camp. He would be
Or even like a tour on Crook Road, because that's like his main spot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're building all those houses
Elisa
on.
got me a cameo of Lawrence And I ever since, of course, I've been in love with him for a long time. I just love all of the stuff that he does. But Barb introduced us to a movie that he was in, and it was called Would You Rather? Is that right, Barb?
Yep.
And this movie, when you talk about twisted levels of shit, I mean to tell you, when I watched this movie, I was just, I loved every second of it. The
Told
blood,
you waited too long.
I did completely. So Barb introduced us to this movie. So until next week when we have Lawrence on, I highly recommend that anybody who's watching watch this movie. It's called Would You Rather?
And not only does it have Lawrence in it, it also has Pete Dolgen, who played one of the Dolgen brothers. It has Sam from Sam and Anna, that when Rick and Carol were going scavenging, they saw Sam in the building, in the house. And Benjamin from the Kingdom.
Yeah.
I'm not huge with like blood and gore, so I may have to go watch The Waterboy. Because
Yeah.
Lawrence was also in The Waterboy. You go blood and gore, I'll go comedy, you know.
Eliza saying she's not into blood and gore is just mind-boggling to me because we
Well,
literally
I'll
are
go into
obsessed.
The Walking Dead.
So not to be so like, there really isn't a lot of blood and gore. It's more of the torture they're put through.
See, I
It
don't
is
like
a
torture.
It is a mental mind fuck. This movie
Yes.
is so great. It
I'll
will
have to
screw
watch
you
it during the daytime or I'll have boogie mirrors.
up. No.
And
no
John
movie-
Hurd. John Hurd's in it too.
Okay.
Fantastic. Yeah.
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 I'll have to
It's-
watch it during the daytime or I'll have nightmares. And
No,
I've
you won't.
already been having crazy dreams anyway, so.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, everybody in the audience, Pedro Pascal is going to join the Fromcast. I'm just saying. I've seen it. I have a premonition. The Mandalorian is going to join the Fromcast.
Oh my God, you're so ridiculous.
And I think we have a Patreon birthday to shout out to.
Yeah.
Oh, we do. Benny Boo.
Ben.
Ben.
He's still in the room.
Our Benny. It was Benny's birthday.
It was Benny's birthday.
He's 22.
He's 22, right? Yeah, Anissa, he is Zaddy for sure.
Zaddy.
We love Pedro.
We had to, we had to post the picture of Ben with his girl Alana of their tour that they did. He was smiling like a Cheshire cat.
Anyway, all right. So next week, you guys, in between now and next week, go watch Would You Rather
And Waterboy.
or Waterboy or anything else that Lawrence is in.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, shoot them in the Patreon chat for Lawrence.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to give out a big shout out and a plug right now. We are going to be starting filming Back from the Dead in September, so I'm super excited about that. And hopefully my girls can join us and be part of it as well. And I'm super excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, and Rick Prince is the director. He was in our comments tonight, so it's going to be.
I can write, Rick. I can write.
Yes, she can. Yes, she can. I'm just saying.
She's
So,
good.
Yeah. All right. So
Hi, Sean.
not that one. Hold on. Let me remove that. There we go.
Okay, we like to thank our Patreons and financial supporters of the show, Casey and Katrina Florig, Brandon Cade, Ben and Melissa, and they were both in the house tonight. Terry and Kay Collier. Terry was in the comments. Jonathan and Michelle Cooley, Wesley and Sarah Hell, Jasmine Mullins, Vaughn Montalago, Jason Cohn. And Jason's been doing some cool stuff lately with the bricks.
Yeah.
You have to check
Yeah.
that
Jason's
out.
very talented.
Yeah. Tracy Killen Stokes, Marianne Craig, Linda Athens. Linda was in the comments tonight, but she said she didn't like the first seasons of Fear. Casey Collins, Crystal, she was in the house. David Tuckerman. I wonder how she's doing. I hope she's doing with her surgery.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And Julie, she joined us earlier today. Jason Hill, Kayla, missing Kayla tonight. She's usually in here. Debbie, Juno, Jerome, and Nissa, and then Edward and Diana Ponce Krupa. Let's see. Kiki, Mark graced us with his presence tonight. Pamela joined us today. See, Regina was in the house. It was good to see Regina. Tina Stromberg, Randy having fun at San Diego Comic-Con. Let's see, Samara was in the house. Dustin, Sandy Morrison. Dustin, you know what he's up to, girls?
What?
He's trying to get us to do a podcast on that missing girl, Amy. He's in this big group. He knows the brother. He goes, do you know how many views that you all would get about having his brother on our podcast?
Missing girl Amy. Who's Amy?
On the boat on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'll have to watch it.
Yeah.
I said the only thing is our audience is not, I don't know.
Yeah.
Debbie Sullivan, Elizabeth Hanson Green, and Destiny Larimore. And a very special thank you to Oscar and Casey.
Yep.
And hopefully we can maybe get Lawrence to camp. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, you can check us out on our Facebook group page where we play our games and give away monthly prizes. And me and Barb's got one of those announcements here soon, right, Barb?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the end of the month, yeah.
Yep. And then we have our podcast page. If you haven't went and liked that, please do. We're getting close to 1,000, and we'd be really excited if we reach that milestone. We're on Instagram. Lisa keeps that updated. YouTube, Spotify, Twitter, IMDb, and Carol keeps that updated and going. Merchandise, we're still in the loop on that one. And Patreon. You can be a $10.
Anybody in the audience, if you know of a good online merchandise store, Teespring has, I don't know what's going on with them. I know I've lost probably $200 to $300. Can't get any replies. I know Barb has lost some money. So if you know of any good online merchandise stores, send me a DM, please, and I'll check it out.
Okay, so you could be a Patreon, $10, $20 a month. You get a free Patreon shirt.
Why do people want to be Patreons, Dawn?
Because we give back to the lovely people in the comments.
And we're the cool kids.
Right. And Barb has the Echelon Briefing games, and Dawn and Barb's been doing the Walking Dead stuff and all of that, and then Dawn has been doing some From.
Yeah, I'll try to do some
Trivia.
tomorrow because I'm off, but I'm prepping for inventory on August the 10th. So my main focus right now is inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
The biggest question coming up is, who is Boyd's grandson?
Right. Yeah. Anissa said, yeah, we are the cool kids.
We are the cool kids.
We are.
We need to play
All right,
that.
guys. Well, we love you. We will see you next week with Lawrence.
Lawrence. Okay. Love you guys.
Love you
Bye-bye.
guys.